So hello from Green-Mopeds. So today we're going to show you the only real options when it comes to three-wheelers in electric delivery bikes at the moment, in the UK at least. So we've got the Vmoto VS3, which is literally just turning up in the UK. We're in January 2024. And the sort of current de facto choice, which is the Aidea AA Cargo from Japan. So we'll just show you some of the features around these bikes. There are some fundamental differences about them, and hopefully that will help you make an informed decision. So let's get to it. Okay, so a bit about both bikes. Most people know the Vmoto Super Socko bikes. They've been around since 2017. The front end of this bike, as in basically from here forward, especially this part, that is a Super Socko CPX or Vmoto VS1. So if you know your Super Socko bikes and you've got a CPX, then you will understand and appreciate all of the sort of use and layout of the VS3 at the front end at least. The Aidea is out of Japan, so with an Italian design, as they call it. So this one is sort of less well known, but in terms of actual bikes that are in use right now, Ocado and both Supper London are actually using these in anger as we look after them. So right now the VS3 is not here until probably another couple of months. We're in January 2024 right now. Okay, so you will see Ocado Zoom, for example, and Supper London whizzing around London on Aidea AA cargos at the moment. Okay, so in terms of differences, obviously one has a roof, more protection, etc. There was talk about providing a roof option for the VS3, although that as yet isn't available. And then some of the major differences between the two, apart from that obvious one, is that this bike is only at the moment an L2E category, which is 50cc equivalent, 28 mile an hour, 45 kilometer an hour version. That is your only choice. Whereas on the Aidea, you've got either an L2E 50cc equivalent or an L5E, which is a 125cc equivalent. The result of that is you can either get a 28 mile an hour Aidea or a 40 plus mile an hour Aidea. Okay, so your choice. Obviously in London, 28 mile an hour might be fine, but if you're doing sort of more urban routes where you get to A roads that go over 40, then you probably want a bit of a faster bike. Okay, so two choices of spec in the Aidea, only choice in the VS3. I did ask them if there was going to be a faster one, and they have no plans right now on the Vmoto. Okay, other differences. So at the front end, you've got a slightly smaller front wheel on the Aidea, and you've got the sort of standard 16-inch wheel from the CPX or VS1 there. So some people might argue that that's better for road conditions, although what we've seen from Ocado, that isn't really an issue. Okay, some of the other differences. So if you notice down the back here, this is not a centrally mounted, not a hub motor. This is one centrally mounted 2.5 kilowatt motor in there, as you can see. So in some respects, I guess it's a bit simpler, but in other respects, because it's not a hub motor, it's more complicated, although these are versions of hub motors in a different guise. On the Aidea, you've got either 2 times 1 kilowatt motor in the hub, or 2 times 2 kilowatt motors in the hub if you are doing the L5E 40 plus mile an hour version. Okay, so a difference there. Neither is good or bad, it's just different. Okay, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. One of the other major differences between them is in the batteries. So here you see you've got two 3.85 kilowatt hour batteries in the Aidea. However, they are currently fixed. I'm showing you just to show you them, but they are not removable in any way, that you could swap them during a shift or whatever. You have to rely on some sort of type 1 or type 2 charging, which this cable comes with it, and it goes into the type 2 charging there. So what people like Ocado are doing is sort of opportunistic charging, where they, when the bike's down because the rider's at lunch or whatever, they top it up and they do get through their day, and it's a 16-hour day, topping up the bike as and when they want. But 80 to 90 miles is a fair range for these bikes in that configuration with the two batteries. On the VS3 though, it is back to removable. So the way you get to the batteries is you unlock this, and that unlocks the actual batteries, and then you will probably recognize these if you're a Super Socko CPX user. These are the same batteries out of the CPX. Okay, so, and of course removable. So if you feel that removable is still a better option for you, or if maybe you had a fleet of CPXs and you wanted to add in a VS3, then maybe that is a good option. Obviously with this one, your range is only limited by battery availability. Batteries can be charged off the bike in 3 hours, and they can also be charged on the bike in a couple of places in actual fact. So here, this is showing you the charging port, and it's not Type 2 or whatever. It is standard C13 kettle lead, okay, and there is an integral charger built into the bike. Interestingly, you also have the Super Socko CPX charger port there too. Okay, so I'm not so sure why you need two options to do the same thing. One using a charger and one using the socket, as in the plug socket. I guess with the charger you're getting 15 amp charging, and with the socket you're getting 13 amp. Maybe that's the reason. I'd have to look into that a bit more. Okay, so charging times will be about 3 odd hours, and for either battery, and that should be fine for most people. So in terms of other things, one of the main differences between them is how they actually tilt or not. So on this one, hopefully I can show this. On this one, one of the things that it does is it tilts just the front end. Okay, so the rear stays rigid. Okay, so that is a technique that people have to learn, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, but then it does on this one too. So on this one, the whole thing tilts. The whole bike is tilting right now. Okay, so that is also something that people have to learn, because it is a little bit disconcerting, and I have obviously ridden these bikes to know that when the whole thing tilts, it feels a bit different, because you've got a roof and your back is rigid against the back of the seat, and it feels a little bit disconcerting and you have to get used to it. Whereas on this one, because only the front tilts, it also is a little bit different from what you'd expect on a two-wheeled bike. Okay, so neither is right or wrong, it's just that they're different. Okay, and we've had these bikes on trial recently, and the feedback has been, you know, some people prefer one, some people prefer the other, but ultimately you will get used to it, I would suggest. Okay, so that's that. At the back end, you know, we talk about storage, and one of the reasons that people look at these bikes is because they want to do more deliveries or more drops per trip. That is how they get the economy of or actually making this cost effective. Okay, so this bike on the Vmoto, box on the Vmoto, is obviously pretty huge. Comes with shelves, double locking, etc., etc. This is the not the biggest box that you can get on an Aidea. Some extra locks there, but the thing to realise, I guess, is that you could put either box on either bike. Okay, the box is just a box at the end of the day. Okay, so that's that. I mean, we're talking, these are 400 odd litre boxes. Okay, so pretty big. And if you think about one of the biggest boxes that you currently see on the roads from Getir or people like that, they are typically about 100 litre. Okay, so one of the reasons that people like Ocado like these bigger boxes is because they can take 9 of their delivery bags, or maybe 8 of their delivery bags in one trip. And that could be 8 different customers in one trip, rather than, you know, maybe only a couple in their standard two-wheeler version. Okay, so that's that. Again, I wasn't going to go into too much detail. The main differences are obviously the roof, the power, the options you've got around speed. Storage is neither here nor there. One of the main differences being the way they ride and tilt. But essentially what happens is that when people trial these bikes, some people like some people like the other, but they all do a very good job of, which is, can you deliver more in the same shift than you do currently with a two-wheel bike? Okay, and that is where these things excel. So at the moment, we're the only real people who can provide both of these bikes, and obviously trials are available, finance is available, all that other good stuff. So if you'd like to understand more, feel free to contact us at hello@green-mopeds.com, and you're welcome to pop down to Brentford to have a look, and thanks very much.